The cameras flashed.
Oh, yeah.
The crowd just completely froze.
You could hear a pin drop.
And just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession. Welcome to Starscope Report.
Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals.
From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
Exactly.
So, picture this. The arena is absolutely packed. The lights are blinding, and you can practically feel the heat, like just radiating off the crowd.
Oh, I can imagine.
A massive Grammy-nominated country music star steps up to the microphone.
Yeah. The audience is deafening, right?
Yeah.
Waiting for that first chord.
Exactly, waiting for the music. But he doesn't sing.
No.
The entire arena falls completely silent as he leans in, and he announces the end of a 10-year marriage to the woman he just called his best friend.
It's just wild.
When the stage lights go down, the illusion of the perfect celebrity couple totally shatters.
Totally.
But what happens next isn't, a tearful kitchen table conversation.
No, not at all.
It is a highly choreographed, multi-million-dollar corporate unmerging.
It's a business transaction.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into the actual court documents, the scrubbed audio files, and the legal mechanics behind two massive country music divorces.
We're going to figure out how empires are divided when the cameras stop rolling.
So we have a really revealing stack of sources for this deep dive.
Yeah, we do.
We're parsing through entertainment news reports, court document summaries, and honestly, most interestingly, transcripts from a podcast that was suddenly wiped from the internet in July of 2026.
Just completely scrubbed.
Yeah. The contrast between the public performance of a breakup and the sterile legal filings is staggering.
It tells us so much about how modern wealth is protected.
It really does. And the story of country star Jelly Roll and podcaster Bunnie Xo is just the perfect place to begin.
Because the timeline of this split almost defies logic.
I was looking through the source materials, and the history is a total roller coaster.
Oh, absolutely.
So they meet in 2015. They get married in a Las Vegas courthouse in 2016.
Right, very fast.
Then in 2018, they actually separate due to his infidelity, which he later publicly called his biggest regret.
Yeah, he was very open about that.
They push through it, and in August of 2023, they renew their vows.
A beautiful moment.
Fast forward to February 2026, they are walking the Grammy Awards red carpet together, looking completely united.
I remember that. He delivered this highly emotional acceptance speech at that time, just heavily praising her support.
Yeah.
From a public relations standpoint, in February, they looked impenetrable as a unit.
But then we hit May, and the entire structure collapses in the span of a weekend.
Literally a weekend.
The court documents list their official date of separation as May 9th, 2026.
Okay.
And the very next day, May 10th, which happened to be Mother's Day, is when the final catalyst occurred.
Wow, on Mother's Day.
Yeah. In an episode of her Dumb Blonde podcast, which was released right after the news broke, Bunnie revealed the details of that day.
What did she say?
She stated they got into an argument, and she was, quote, so fed up and so tired that she looked at him and said, well, then file the feffing divorce papers.
Which is a massive escalation for her.
Huge.
She explicitly noted in that audio that this is a cardinal rule she never breaks.
Right.
She explained that, while he might be the runner in the relationship, the partner who throws the word divorce around when things get hard, she never does.
Oh, wow.
Her quote was, when I say it, it really holds weight because I'm not the type of person who says what I don't mean.
She packed her bags and left immediately.
Just like that.
But the part of that source that really stood out to me was her explanation of their dynamic.
Yeah.
She claimed they were the type of couple who never argued.
Never.
Never. She said he would hold things in, she would hold things in, and it just became a recipe for disaster.
Oh, I see.
It makes me think of, accruing technical debt in software development.
That's a good way to put it.
Right. If you don't patch the small bugs daily, and you just keep building new features on top of a flawed foundation, the whole system doesn't just glitch.
It crashes.
It eventually crashes unexpectedly and catastrophically.
That analogy perfectly captures the mechanics of their dynamic.
Yeah.
When you look at the bigger picture of their lives over the last few years, the amount of rapid change they experienced was immense.
Unbelievable change.
Jelly Roll underwent a massive pivot into mainstream superstardom, navigating a highly publicized weight loss journey and his ongoing sobriety.
Right.
And simultaneously, Bunnie transitioned from an influencer into a major media producer with a highly successful podcast empire.
I have to wonder, though, how does a couple successfully navigate all that change without arguing?
Honestly,
Yeah, it seems impossible.
it usually is. People often mistake a lack of conflict for harmony,
Oh, that's so true.
but from a psychological standpoint, in high-stress, rapidly evolving environments, not arguing is often a sign of detachment.
Detachment, wow.
It means the partners have stopped trying to bridge the gap between their changing identities.
So they're just drifting.
Exactly. You aren't resolving issues, you're just engaging in parallel play until the structural tension becomes unbearable.
Right.
When two people are evolving that quickly, individually, they have to constantly renegotiate their partnership.
And if they don't?
If they don't, that technical debt, as you called it, takes them under.
So the system crashes on Mother's Day.
Yep.
But this brings me to a detail in the filings that I simply do not understand.
What's that?
You would assume an emotional explosion of that magnitude resulting in a sudden split would lead to a dragged-out, messy, years-long court battle over assets.
Sure, usually.
But they settled this divorce in 2 to 3 weeks.
That is incredibly fast.
If you've ever tried to divide up furniture with an ex, you know it's a nightmare.
Oh, totally.
How on earth do you divide an empire that quickly?
Well, it requires an incredibly sophisticated legal framework, often pre-negotiated, or a mutual realization that fighting will cost more than conceding.
Makes sense.
In this case, within weeks of the filing, they had an airtight agreement.
And I want to walk through the scale of these assets because it is staggering to think this was sorted out in a matter of days.
I'll hear it.
We're looking at private aircraft, a fleet of luxury cars, and massive intellectual properties on both sides.
Wow.
Real estate-wise, they own a $6.2 million mansion in Franklin, Tennessee, and a $4.5 million 500-acre country farm compound in Burns, Tennessee.
That is massive, and the property division is quite revealing.
Yeah.
According to Bunnie's statements, Jelly Roll is giving her that massive 500-acre Burns compound.
He's giving it to her.
Yeah. She stated, quote, "Jay is so fucking sweet that he's giving me that compound in the divorce because he knows how special it is to me."
She followed that up with a quote that is incredibly loaded.
Huh.
She said, "You didn't take care of me in the marriage, but you're taking care of me in the divorce."
Oof. It is a striking sentiment, but legally, it translates into a very clean break.
How so?
The settlement includes a one-time lump sum payment to Bunnie, and crucially, no future alimony.
Which means no ongoing monthly entanglements.
How does that?
But it isn't entirely clean because the court documents reveal one major surprising condition.
This is the interesting part.
They both agreed to a mutual non-disparagement clause.
A gag order, basically.
Yeah, and I want to drill down into this. What is the actual legal mechanism here?
Sure.
A judge isn't following them around with a roll of duct tape. How does a non-disparagement clause actually govern their behavior?
It's essentially a private contract governing speech, enforceable through civil litigation.
Okay.
It means they have mutually agreed that if either party publicly insults, disparages, or damages the reputation of the other, the offended party can sue for breach of contract.
Wow.
Often, these clauses are tied directly to financial penalties, sometimes called liquidated damages.
So real money is on the line.
Oh, yeah. Where a single negative tweet or interview could cost the offending party hundreds of thousands of dollars or even trigger a clawback of that lump sum settlement.
Oh, so it's a financial gun to the head.
Pretty much.
And the timing of this clause seems to explain the biggest mystery in our source material.
The Vanishing Podcast.
Yes. On June 18th, Bunnie drops this lengthy, highly revealing podcast episode detailing the fight, the divorce papers, and the settlement.
I remember that.
It was fully out there. But then, on July 6th, that episode vanishes from all platforms.
Oof, Kong.
Her promotional posts on social media were completely scrubbed.
Yep.
If this split is so amicable, why is she suddenly deleting her own content? Did the legal clause force her to scrub the internet?
Well, while we don't have explicit confirmation that opposing counsel demanded the deletion, the mechanics of modern celebrity divorces make it highly probable.
It just makes sense.
A non-disparagement clause isn't necessarily proof that they hate each other. It is a mechanism for mutual financial survival in the digital age.
Brand protection.
Exactly. Both of these individuals possess multi-million-dollar personal brands. Jelly Roll's brand is deeply tied to redemption, emotional honesty, and overcoming demons.
Right.
Bunnie's brand relies on being unfiltered, fiercely loyal, and independent.
So if they start taking shots at each other, they are essentially depreciating their own stock?
Exactly that. The internet is forever, And a single out-of-context soundbite from an emotional podcast can trigger a brand boycott.
That's true.
Once the settlement was finalized, lawyers on both sides likely realized that an hour-long, unfiltered breakdown of their marital collapse violated the spirit, if not the direct letter, of a non-disparagement agreement.
So it's corporate risk management applied to a personal relationship.
Exactly. And if you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed, because we've got even crazier stories ahead.
Definitely. It is fascinating to think of a marriage ending the same way a CEO exits a tech company.
Right.
But they are human beings, and their post-split behavior is incredibly baffling.
Yeah, the human element always complicates the paperwork.
The legal paperwork might be a tidy corporate unmerging, but their actual lives are deeply contradictory right now.
Let's talk about that.
Let me walk through these post-split events, because they do not line up with a couple who just signed divorce papers and a gag order.
No, they don't.
On June 18th, Jelly Roll is on stage at a concert, and he tells the crowd, quote, "Me and my wife are best friends. She will probably be the only woman I'll ever love the way I loved her."
It's sweet, but sad.
But then in early July, Bunnie Xo is spotted kissing reality star Dylan Wolf.
And the location is key here.
Oh, yeah.
She wasn't spotted at some random club. She was spotted kissing him at Jelly Roll's own bar in Nashville over the 4th of July weekend.
At his own establishment.
Right there in front of everybody.
But wait, there is a detail in these sources that forces me to stop and completely question everything I know about family law.
And that's not even the wildest part.
No. Despite the divorce, despite dividing the 500-acre farm, despite her kissing reality stars at his bar,
Yeah.
they still plan to have a baby together via IVF surrogacy.
Yes, they do.
I have to push back here, because mechanically, how is this even possible?
It's complicated.
They are legally gagged from insulting each other and actively dissolving their union, yet they are simultaneously trying to create a child together.
It sounds totally contradictory, but this is where the law and their specific psychology intersect in a fascinating way.
Okay, break it down.
From a legal standpoint, undertaking IVF post-divorce is incredibly complex.
I would imagine.
Typically, family courts freeze or even order the destruction of embryos during a divorce because the courts are highly reluctant to force someone into legal parenthood against their will.
That makes total sense.
To actively start or continue the IVF process after filing for divorce requires ironclad, separate legal contracts.
So they aren't relying on family court anymore. They are drafting independent agreements.
Precisely. They have to draft intended parentage documents and co-parenting agreements that treat the creation of this child almost like a joint venture between two independent entities.
Wow, a joint venture.
It requires decoupling the romantic partnership from the child-rearing partnership entirely.
But emotionally, how does a couple arrive at that decision?
That's tough.
Is this some progressive new frontier or just a massive disaster waiting to happen?
To understand it, you really have to look at who they are.
Right.
In that deleted podcast, Bunnie stated they are, quote, the most unconventional couple that you guys have ever encountered.
And she's not wrong.
No.
Right.
If we look at their history, their entire relationship survived by defying societal norms. They met before the fame.
Yeah.
She has spoken openly about doing adult content and sex work to pay his bills early in his career.
Wow.
And he has been incredibly transparent about his criminal past, his time in prison, and his addiction.
So for a couple whose foundational mythology is built on surviving the extremes of society, a traditional, sanitized, clean break divorce was never going to be on the table.
Exactly. They don't do things by the book.
Obviously not.
Bunnie mentioned previously that the physical and emotional toll of IVF had wrecked them.
It's a brutal process.
But because they genuinely seem to still view each other as best friends, they don't see the end of their romantic marriage as a mandate to end their family-building goals.
That is so interesting.
It severely challenges our basic assumptions about what a family structure is supposed to look like post-divorce.
It's mind-bending. But it also highlights something really interesting about how the public consumes these stories.
Definitely.
When the reality of a divorce is just two people signing co-parenting contracts and dividing real estate through LLCs, it isn't very exciting.
No, it's mostly paperwork.
Which makes me want to shift focus, because Jelly Roll and Bunnie aren't the only country music adjacent couple dealing with fascinating legal maneuvers right now.
True.
The public has a habit of inventing drama when the legal documents are actually incredibly boring.
The Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman split is a perfect case study for this phenomenon.
It really is. Later in the deep dive, we'll talk about the shocking twist nobody saw coming there.
Yeah. Late last year, News broke that Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman were separating after nearly 2 decades of marriage.
2 decades.
And immediately, the internet caught fire with rumors of a so-called cocaine clause.
It was inescapable in the entertainment press. I remember seeing it everywhere.
Oh, everywhere.
The rumor claimed that in their 2006 prenuptial agreement, there was a specific lifestyle clause.
Right.
It allegedly stated that Nicole Kidman would pay Keith Urban $600,000 for every single year he remained sober during their marriage.
That is a very specific rumor.
Since Urban famously went to rehab shortly after they wed and has reportedly remained sober ever since, the internet rumor mill calculated that he was due an $11 million sobriety bonus upon their divorce.
$11 million.
I see why people want to believe this. It's a made-for-Hollywood narrative about a supportive superstar wife financially incentivizing her rock star husband's sobriety.
It sounds like a movie plot.
But legally, does a clause like that even make sense?
Legally, lifestyle clauses are notoriously difficult to draft and even harder to enforce.
I can imagine.
Family court judges generally despise vague contracts.
Why is that?
Well, if a contract says a partner must remain sober, the legal mechanics of proving a breach are an absolute nightmare.
Oh, like what counts as a breach?
Exactly. Does a single glass of wine at a dinner party void the contract?
Right.
Do they require weekly, court-mandated hair follicle testing to release the funds?
That sounds insane.
Unless the contract specifies an incredibly rigorous third-party medical testing protocol, an $11 million payout based on the vague concept of sobriety is practically unenforceable.
Which explains the actual factual reality of their divorce petition.
Yep.
According to reporters who have viewed the filings, there is absolutely no $11 million payout happening.
None at all.
In fact, there is no spousal or child support changing hands between them at all.
It's wild.
The details of their split are remarkably mundane for two international superstars worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
It's the epitome of an unmerging, just a clean break.
Kidman is the custodial parent of their two teenagers, who are 17 and 14.
Okay.
The custody arrangement states the kids will spend 59 days a year with Urban.
Very specific.
As for the assets, they each keep their own cars, their own clothes, and their own jewelry.
Wow.
They're essentially just dividing the furniture and walking away.
Just walking away.
It reminds me of a giant game of telephone. The internet desperately wants a sensational story because it's exciting.
Human nature.
The boring truth of two wealthy people cleanly dividing their couches just doesn't get clicks.
It connects directly back to Jelly Roll and Bunnie Xo.
Totally.
In both cases, the public craves a dramatic, villainous narrative.
We want a bad guy.
Exactly. We want secret million-dollar payouts or explosive courtroom shouting matches.
Right.
But behind closed doors, celebrity divorces are increasingly becoming highly choreographed business transactions.
Like the non-disparagement clause.
Exactly. The non-disparagement clause for Jelly Roll and Bunnie, or the clean, pre-negotiated asset split for Urban and Kidman, are legal mechanisms specifically designed to prevent the very drama the public is hungering for.
They're avoiding the circus.
The paperwork is kept sterile so that the humans involved can survive the public scrutiny and protect their personal brands.
Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next on the show.
Because there's always more to the story.
You might be wondering why any of this matters to you. If you don't have a 500-acre country compound or a fleet of private jets to divide.
Fair question.
Even without the millions, these stories highlight something universal about how we manage relationships.
Yes.
They show us how crucial clear communication and defined boundaries really are, preferably well before a relationship hits that breaking point where the technical debt becomes too much to bear.
Relying on never arguing is a fundamentally flawed strategy for any partnership.
It really is.
True partnership requires the friction of disagreement to build resilience. And when things do ultimately end, setting clear, legally sound boundaries, even if you aren't using a literal non-disparagement clause or creating a post-divorce IVF contract in your own life.
Right, which most of us aren't.
Exactly. It's often the healthiest, most effective way to move forward.
It really gives you something to think about. We've untangled the internet rumors from the legal reality today, but there is a lingering thought we want to leave you with.
As we watch ultra-high net worth marriages increasingly resemble corporate mergers, complete with non-disparagement clauses, intellectual property divisions, and rumored financial lifestyle incentives.
Yeah.
It raises a question about the future of everyday relationships.
Will we soon see average couples demanding lifestyle clauses or social media gag orders in their own wedding vows?
It's entirely possible.
If love is blind, is the modern divorce just a harsh awakening to the fine print?
Such a good question.
Next time you see a superstar standing alone at a microphone in a silent arena, you might just find yourself wondering, what exactly does the contract say?
You've been listening to Start Scope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncovered the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture.
Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.